How is everyone doing today? Are you doing great? I'm doing fine. Um, yeah, yesterday I've worked on, let's see, we worked on some player movement. We went with one approach that was supposed to be better than the old approach, but in the end the old approach turned out to be better than the new approach, so I reverted it. And then we worked on dynamic terrains. So basically, previously we only had one terrain, um, and now we made it so we can have two terrains, or two grids, I should say. And one of the grids we made dynamic, by which I mean this grid can actually move around and stuff. And the terrain grid, of course, remains static. So we had this very fun time playing with this huge chunk of rock bouncing around the terrain, and that was really cool. So we're getting closer and closer to what I want to achieve with this game. It's still going slowly, but we're slowly getting there. And yeah, it's going well, I think. We still have a very, very long road ahead of us, but it's going well. Today I want to take a look at backgrounds, or more specifically background tiles for grids. So right now we have only one layer of tiles, which is the foreground layer, which is what you can actually see when you run the game. Let me start up Unity while I'm talking. So yeah, we have this foreground layer, and now I want to add a background layer. And the background layer will contain tiles that will be colored a little bit darker, and yeah, it will be used for backgrounds. So basically, if you have, for example, a house or a vehicle, then of course you want to move around inside that house or inside that vehicle. But at the same time, you also want to have something that resembles an outer wall of the vehicle or an outer wall of the house. That will be the background layer. And the background layer probably should not collide with anything. Or maybe we're gonna change the rules around collision a bit. I'm not exactly sure how I want to do that just yet. But right now, I want to focus on just putting a background layer in there and making sure that it renders correctly, and also making sure that it, how should I say this? Sorry about that. So yeah, I want to put this background layer in there, make sure that it renders correctly, and also make sure that that any terrain that's being generated also generates a background layer in addition to a foreground layer. So this is how our game looks right now, or rather our game prototype, our scene. So we have this dynamic grid which we can walk around on. We can push it to the left or to the right. It's kind of funny. Oh, maybe one of the things that are nice to do right now would be to make some changes to the camera. In fact, I think I want to do that right away, because it will be useful in inspecting the landscape. Okay. So I'm going to change my description. Let's see. Currently one camera zoom and adding background tiles to grids. Okay. That's too long. Okay, I'll just make a little card for this as well. So we're going to work on this. Make camera zoom in and out. I've actually got a lot of stuff done already. Kind of nice to see this this thing grow. See what are all the problems you have already solved. Kind of nice, nice to see. Okay, the camera. I'm going to go to camera 2D, which is the class that controls our camera. Still need to start up Visual Studio. Okay, there we are. Camera. So basically, how do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I just want to use a zoom value, or maybe, let's see. Let me figure this out. Yeah, I think we're going to zoom by integers. And somehow we're going to have to change this one, the pixels per meter value. We are going to have to make some kind of zoom value, which then translates into this pixels per meter value. So I think I'm going to make an integer called zoom, private int zoom level. And we could also, of course, make a property for that. That might be the way to go. And then, of course, returning is not that difficult. But setting is going to be where the magic happens. I'm still suffering from allergies a little bit. Right now it's mostly that my nose is a bit closed up, so I find it a little bit hard to speak. Okay, zoom level. Now I think we are just going to use powers of 2 for our zoom level. So basically pixels per meter becomes, let's see, zoom level power of 2. Zoom level square. Maybe this will work nicely. So then I want to make some methods to adjust the zoom level. Wait. Now obviously if you're working in code you can just increment zoom level because it's a property, it will automatically change the camera, the pixels per meter value. But of course if you have a property then you cannot really easily change that in the inspector and have it also adjust other values. So I'm going to make some very simple zoom in and zoom out methods, which I will be able to call from the inspector. Context menu. Zoom out. Oops. It's not right. Okay, so now we have two functions, two methods, zoom in and zoom out. Basically the only thing they do is increment or decrement the zoom level property, and using the context menu attribute we can use these methods from in the inspector. Basically we can right click on our object and then select from a drop down to execute this method, which will allow us to easily test our zooming. So I need to set a default value for the zoom level now. Now if I go, let's see, to the power 2 is 4, to the power 3. Yeah, it's to the power of 4. So our default zoom level will be 4, because it's the same as what we have now right now, pixels per meter 16. Maybe I want to serialize this as well. So we can change this default if we want to. Okay, so I'm trying to zoom in. Okay, that's not a zoom in, that's a zoom out. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, our zoom level is 0. How is that? That should be 4 by default. Okay, so it looks like zoom in and zoom out are reversed, which might make sense. Zoom in. Oh, maybe not. Zoom out. Okay, cool, yes. That's really nice. And of course we do not want to go any lower than 0, because then we'll get weird shit happening. What happens if we go really really close zooming. I guess that will work okay. So yeah, I think I want to clamp it between 1 and 10 or something like that. So zoom level is not dot clamp. Do we have any clamping in the system? Do we really not have an integer clamp? What the hell? I'm going to look in .NET to see if there's anyone anywhere. C# clamp integer. Of course I could use a if-else thing, but using a function would be more easier to read. There is no clamp function? Really? I mean, Unity has one for floats, but not for integers. I guess I'll just use the if-else thing then. If 0 max. Yeah, I'll just use max and min. Of course, constant int min zoom is 1. Constant int max zoom is 10. So it will never go lower or higher than these values. This should be value, because we're setting the value. Yeah, I think this works as I expected. So, zoom in, zoom out, zooming out. We don't go any further. Okay, that works. Now just to have a scroll wheel. Input. How did we access the scroll wheel? Okay, mouse. Is it one of the mouse buttons? I think so. I'll have to check. Empty mouse scroll wheel. Input get access. Yeah, I don't like using the input manager. It's a piece of shit. Is there like a raw value I can use? I'll do my own input mapping, thank you very much. And the input manager is so annoying. You cannot change it at runtime, nor can you actually pull to see which bindings are defined and stuff. It's just not adequate for any game where you want to remap bindings. So basically, most games they build their own rebinder on top of it, and the Unity input manager just makes it all more difficult than it should be. Reconnecting. Oh shit. Hello? Seems like I lost connection for a bit. Let me check stream health. Unstable. Poor network connection detected. Ah, that's not fun. Let me restart the stream for a bit.